for the release of the IMF's October Regional Economic Outlook for Sub-Saharan Africa. 6 months ago, our assessment highlighted the region's strong efforts and that growth had exceeded expectations last year. But we also noted sudden realignment of global priorities and increasing turbulent external conditions marked by weaker demand, softer commodity prices, and tighter financial markets. Today, these global headwinds continue to test the region's recovery and resilience. Sub-Saharan Africa's economic growth, we now estimate, is expected to hold steady at 4.1% this year, with a modest pickup expected in 2026. And in our view, this reflects ongoing progress in macroeconomic stabilization and reform efforts across the major economies in the region. Important to note that several countries in the region, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda, are among the fastest growing economies in the world. However, we still have quite a few resource-intensive countries and conflict-infected countries continuing to face significant challenges with only modest gains in per capita incomes. The external environment remains challenging, global growth is slowing, and commodity prices are diverging. Notably, oil prices are declining while the price of copper, coffee, and gold are fairly elevated. And external financing conditions have improved somewhat, allowing a few countries, Kenya and Angola most recently, to access international capital markets. The global trade and policy landscape has also deteriorated. Tariffs on exports to the United States have increased, and preferential access under AGOA has expired, while the direct exposure of most countries to the US is limited. Broader trade policy uncertainty is weighing on growth. The projected sharp decline in foreign aid also leaves some lower income and fragile countries particularly exposed. Affected governments have sought to reallocate budgetary resources, but with limited fiscal space, they have limited room for maneuver. Notwithstanding these challenges, it's been really good to see the region showing strong resilience. But this will continue to be tested in the coming months. Pressure points include rising debt service costs, which are crowding out development spending, a shift towards domestic financing that has deepened the sovereign bank nexus, inflation that has eased at the regional level but remains in double digits in quite a few countries in the region, and external buffers that are under pressure and need to be rebuilt. Against this backdrop, we see two broad policy priorities. The first is domestic revenue mobilization. This is very important to increase our country's potentials. There's significant potential to be tapped here also. And the reforms that need to be considered here include modernizing tax systems through digitalization, streamlining inefficient tax expenditures, and strengthening enforcement via targeted compliance strategies. And importantly, these efforts must go beyond technical adjustments. It will be essential to build public trust in tax institutions, strengthen institution capacity, and conduct careful impact assessment, including distributional analysis, to ensure that these reforms are both effective and equitable. Second, debt management. Enhancing debt transparency, strengthening public finance management can help reduce borrowing costs and unlock innovative financing. Importantly, publishing comprehensive public debt data and reinforcing budget oversight are key steps forward. These priorities will be important to further enhance resilience and support inclusive and sustainable growth across the region, for the ultimate goal of making sure that we have growth, reduce poverty, and lots of jobs. The IMF, of course, remains committed to support the region. Since 2020, we have dispersed nearly $69 billion, including about $4 billion so far this year. our capacity development efforts also remain substantial, with countries in the region amongst the largest recipient of technical assistance.